Hello and welcome to Sports This Morning. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Coming up on the program this morning. First, we're starting with, of course, the story from the Super Eagles camp, where you have 18 players right now are in Super Eagles camp. And later today, they will be having a comprehensive training. Yesterday, they had a light training at their hotel, gym, workouts and all that. But today, they will be training at the Teslim Balogun Stadium ahead of the game against Benin Republic this Saturday. Also on the program, it was all about Obi yesterday when Enyimba came to Lagos to face Sunshine Stars, and Obi's only goal was enough to lift Enyimba as they beat Sunshine by a lone goal right here in Lagos. And finally on the program, on Sports Headline, you have the game between the Houston Rockets finally snapped their losing streak. It ended at 20. Yes, yesterday me and Tayo talked about the fact that they're likely going to snap that because it was just so close. They lost by 2 games, and just last night, early hours of this morning, the Houston Rockets, that losing streak that they had finally snapped. I mean, you have the big boy actually being on double, talking about John Wall. He came to the party, and so the Slummy Rockets finally snapped their losing run. And of course, the team that had to handle that happens to be Toronto Raptors, who are also on a losing streak. They are on 9 right now. And of course, that's where I'm starting up the show this morning. Tayo Salam is on the sideline for a while, so I'll be doing the show alone this morning. And of course, we'll start with the NBA results coming from last night. So many games were decided. Most of the top stars were not in the game. Giannis Antetokounmpo was injured, so he didn't play with the Bucks. But then, Giannis, no problem. They were able to grind out a win. The game between the Kings and the Cavs ended 119 and 105. The Thunder and Timberwolves, it was 112 and 103. And Shai, as usual, was the guy who gave them the top score in that one. But he was on the losing run because Timberwolves had the better. He was on the winning run, winning streak. Winning game, while Timberwolves, who had Kyle Anthony Towns that had as much as 30 points, they lost the game. For the Spurs and the Hornets, it was all about the Hornets on the night, winning by 3 points. And for the Jazz and the Bulls, the Jazz were on fire, 120 and 95 against the Chicago Bulls. And of course, for Rudy Gobert, he had 21 points, 10 rebounds, and a career high 9 blocks. So they had to ease past the Chicago Bulls by as much as 25 points. So for Rudy Gobert, the All-Star became the first Jazz player to record 9+ blocks in a game since Andrei Kirilenko did that. That was in 2006. So the Jazz are back now on that skid that they had before. For the Rockets and the Raptors, yes, that's the game that will get me talking later on the show. There's 117 and 99. That game went to the wire, but the Rockets had to hold on to ensure that that losing streak had to end last night. For the Grizzlies and the Celtics, it went into overtime, but the Grizzlies were the one who were able to grind out the victory. And the Bucks and the Indiana Pacers, yes, Giannis Antetokounmpo sat out due to a sprained left ankle he had, but the Bucks still routed the Indiana Pacers 140 and 113. Drew Holiday led the way with 28 points, 14 assists, and the Bucks, of course, the 7th consecutive victory at home to the Pacers. For the Clippers and the Hawks, it was the Clippers who won 119 and 110, but then one player just wasn't really good on the day. I'm talking about Paul George. He struggled. He had 33 minutes to play. He struggled. He had just 8 points on just 3 of 12 shooting. I mean, he was also just 2 of 7 from 3 points range. It was woeful for him, but then his team won, which was important. 119 and 110 it ended. Now, talking about the main game for the day, I'm talking about how the Rockets were able to snap their losing run. Yes, we've been waiting for that for a very, very long time, and finally it happened. And it happened against the Raptors, who also are woeful. We know they're playing in Tampa Bay in Florida simply because of COVID-19 restrictions and all that, but then against the Houston Rockets on the 9th, they just couldn't do that. John Wall posted his first triple-double since 2016 in that 117 and 99 win over the slumping. Yes, they are now the slumping team right now, Toronto Raptors. Houston were in the midst of the franchise record drought. I mean, they've tied the skid for the worst record in the NBA, 9th. That's where they were. And of course, Philadelphia 76ers had the all-time record of 28-game losing streak. That was across the 2014-2015 and 2015-2016 campaigns. Right now, the Rockets didn't get up to that because they needed to snap it. So they recorded an overdue victory that everyone has been waiting for. And the celebration, you could see the picture of John Wall and Coach Silas just embracing each other after that remarkable game. For John Wall, he had 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. So he needed that triple-double for his team to win. You saw the picture of Coach Steven Silas, clearly very, very excited because of this victory.
It's like indescribable for a win in March of this crazy season, but I'm just so proud of the guys. Like when you're like going through it and fighting so hard, and you just see the disappointment in the players' faces after loss after loss after loss, and then to go in the locker room after today's game and everybody's just happy and joyous. It really, I mean, it's super cool and great. And like, yeah, whatever. I was down and out yesterday. It seems like a week ago right now, but, you know, we regroup, we come together, and yeah, it feels a lot better just because I know it feels great for the players, like whatever with me, you know, but I'm just so happy for those guys that they don't have to hear about it and deal with it. And like I said at the beginning, just kind of trying to pick yourself up again to fight another day, and pick yourself up again to fight another day, and be disappointed day after day after day. And I see it in their faces, I see it in their eyes, and I try to provide like stability when it comes to it. But yeah, the reason I'm happy, so happy, is for those guys.
Not just for himself, but also for all the players. And the players also have been talking about him. Remember, Coach Silas is having his first season in the NBA, and of course, it's not easy for him because he didn't sign up for this. He thought he's going to have, of course, James Harden was there at that time. John Wall left the Washington Wizards, coming down, thinking he was going to partner with a solid player. But at the end of the day, James Harden had to leave, and John Wall is alone. Of course, we have Victor Oladipo, but in this particular game, Victor Oladipo has to sit out because he's being managed, because he's returning from injury. But John Wall had to carry most of the load. Listen to him.
I think it was big. I mean, like I said after last night, we the only one that can get us out this hole. Losing 20 straight, you know, we haven't been healthy, but that's not an excuse because everybody's going through the healthy, safe protocols and then dealing with injuries. And we just went out there and competed. I mean, no matter what or what was going on, like we even had a 12-point lead, let them cut it down to 2 after I threw a lob to see what we missed in transition. We just stuck with it. Our bench played great. Everybody that stepped on the floor played great. And one thing about it is everybody was engaged for the whole 48 minutes. The coaches, the players that wasn't playing, the ones that was suited up, the ones that wasn't suited up. We all cheered each other on. I think like we haven't had that type of spirit since our winning streak had broke before. I just told him we finally got one. So we finally got one. He was happy, and I know, after what his emotion was the last 24 hours, it was big to come out here and compete and play at a high level for him and get a win. Like I told him, I'm riding with him no matter what. And he said the same thing with me. He told me he loved me and appreciate my leadership. And no coach like this in their first year wants to deal with all the adversity he's dealt with, but he's somebody in the locker room guys respect and other coaches respect him, and he's a great guy. I mean, you want the best for him, and we happy that we got this win, and hopefully we can build forward going to our next game.
On to the next one. Hopefully they can continue at that. They can just continue where they stopped last night and see if they can start streaking wins again and not losses. But the good news is the fact that after 20 consecutive losses, the Houston Rockets finally had to snap that skid against the Raptors early hours of this morning. Okay, quickly, we'll just take a look at the guys who put up some numbers on the night. We just had 2 of them from the teams that played against each other, talking about the OKC Thunder, Oklahoma City Thunder, and of course, you have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kyle Anthony Towns had 33 on the night, 10-1, but then he was on the losing side. And the guy who was on the winning side happens to be Shai. He got 30, 31, 3 and 4 for OKC, and of course they got that victory. Just 2 we have this morning, because not most of the guys pick up some numbers, because you had some of those players having as much as 5 players on double figures, so they had to share the load, and of course they had to win their games. Okay, we leave the NBA there and quickly go to Tokyo Olympics. Now the countdown for the Touch Flame is going to start on Thursday, and of course you remember what happened last year. Yes, this event happened, and of course we're counting down to the Olympics. It wasn't to be because COVID-19 happened, but finally now the relay is ready to start on Thursday. That's 1 year and a day since the games were postponed on March 24th last year. So the Touch will begin its journey at the J Village National Training Center at Fukushima Province over the next 4 months, and the relay is going to take the Touch across all Japan's 47 prefectures, including far-flung islands involving about 10,000 runners. So, and the Touch was originally lit, that's the pictures you see right there, in the traditional ceremony on Mount Olympia, that's in Greece, on March 12th last year, arriving in Japan 8 days later. So the Touch relay was due to start 26th last year, but then with the postponement of the games previously, it was kept burning for the past 1 year, just awaiting the rescheduled games. And of course, right now we're going to be having it starting. And for Japan, meticulously, they've been able to plan in the combination of the pandemic, the unprecedented postponement and all that. So it meant they had to scramble through all the locals everywhere they could think about just to put this together. And because of that, of course, they're saying that foreign fans will not be allowed into it. But even the volunteers that are coming will have to be those that are really, really essential. So if they are not essential, they can't come in. So the essential volunteers are the ones that will even come in, the ones that are foreign. So the Olympics obviously is not going to be as big as we expect it to be. It's scheduled to start on the 23rd of August, of July to August 8th. And of course the Paralympics, which is going to start August 24th to September 5th. We know Team Nigeria already preparing. Edo State, Uniben Sports Complex and some other centers in the state is going to host camp most of the athletes that will be preparing for that. We know because of the pandemic, it's hard for some of these athletes to actually travel out of the country for camping and all that. So everyone will have to make do with what they have right now in their various countries. Okay, staying with the Olympics, of course, we're not leaving it yet. Let's talk about Justin Thomas. Now, Justin Thomas is one player who is saying that he would love to actually compete at the Olympics simply because he hasn't been there before. But he said, well, if he's picked, he's world number 2. If he's picked, he would definitely love to compete at the Olympics. Let's just take a listen to him.
No, I mean, I'm ecstatic to have the opportunity to do so. If the Olympics, I hope they happen, and I hope I qualify, because I think that would be one of the coolest honors that I've ever had. It's something you don't obviously get to do too often, and it's probably one of the only tournaments that I would brag about playing in or qualifying for. The fact that I would be able to play, for Team USA in the Olympics. So I would be honored to, and I hope I get the opportunity.
Of course, everyone wants to be at the Olympics. Even world number 2 golfer Justin Thomas wants to be there, because that's something you really don't want to miss out, especially as a professional sports person. You want to be there and just add at least Olympian to your name, or maybe a gold medal or silver or bronze, whatever you're winning, add it to your name. It's more like an opportunity for everyone to be there. But we know that this year, the Super Falcons of Nigeria will not be at the Olympics. Of course, they did not qualify. So this morning, we will be catching up with one of the players who was invited to the Turkey Four-Nation tournament that the Falcons played. And of course, they won. The first time they were taking part in that tournament, they won. I'm talking about Ramat Abdulkarim. She will be joining me this morning all the way from Turkey, talking about what has been happening to her. She was able to get into the senior women's national team. We know how difficult it can be to get into the squad, because there's so many talents across the world, and even in Nigeria, right here, so many talents across the board. Ramat, good morning. It's good to have you join me.
Yeah, good morning, Cecilia. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, boss.
Thank you. All right, let's get into it. Right now, you got your first call-up to the national team, and it was in Turkey. What was it like when you heard that call, or you saw that message that you've been invited to play for Nigeria?
Well, the feeling is unexplainable. I can't explain it. I was deeply excited. Like, that was one of my greatest moments.
Okay, greatest moment. That's a good one. I know how, when you're, were you expecting it? Were you expecting it?
I wasn't. I was not expecting it. It was just like a shock to me. It was a shock to me, and I think a shock to almost everyone. Seriously.
Interesting. So what was the mood like? I mean, did you call your parents, your friends? I mean, what was the story?
The feeling was I couldn't sleep because it came like the letter came in. I was like, maybe I was dreaming. Okay, let's be in the morning. Let me see if it's gonna be real. And
Okay.
when they sent my ticket for me to fly down today. I was like, so this is real. I don't know if it's a cry or I don't know what to actually do. I had to get across to my mom and my few friends that I already know, and she was so excited.
Yeah, interesting. I can see that because I know sometimes parents don't want you to do sports, especially when you're a woman, you want to play football. Like, okay, what are you doing with that? Did you get that kind of support when you were trying to, start playing football?
Yeah, I got it 100% from my mom to my dad. I got it.
Okay, I mean, encouraging, buying you boots, taking you to,
Yes.
training and all those stuff. What was it like?
Yes, my dad was the one that actually put me into football. He was the one that gave me that courage right from my my secondary school, my primary school. My dad was all true. I was be like, why is this man stressing me? But I never knew he knew what he was doing. And after when he was not alive anymore, I lost my dad, and my mom took over. She bought me boots, JCs, and everything I need. She has been a supportive mother all through.
Yeah, interesting. You're just one of the lucky ones because I know every young girl listening to this show right now would be like, okay, how can I get that kind of support? Because I know most girls, once they said they want to play football, their parents will be like, what do you want to do? I mean, do something else, read your books and all that. But you were going to school, you were also training and all that. And even when your dad passed away, your mom continued where he stopped. How were you able to balance going to school and also, playing football, going to training and everything?
Yeah, well, when I was in my primary school, my dad actually, I was in primary three when I started playing. So my dad actually used to take me to training. He did a schedule for me. If I come back from training, time to eat, time to do everything. So then, but when my exams I closed, he stopped me from doing it. So I would remain focused. After my exam, I continue. But then, when I get into the secondary school, at least now I know what to do. I'm now matured. So it wasn't difficult for me to combine it. It wasn't. Just for myself
Interesting.
doing it.
That's a great one. Now, let's talk about the Super Falcons, of course. I mean, there's a story around everywhere. You're the first player from Kogi State to get into the national team. More like a big tag there. What are you going to do about that? Trying to encourage every other one, to play football in your state.
Well, it's a moment I cannot explain. Actually, I got 100% support from co-guides. In fact, the support is massive. I don't know how to thank them. But as an ambassador of the Kogi State, what I would say to every young child out there in Kogi to keep doing their best, because it's not really easy. It wasn't. If I said it's easy, then I'm lying. So the whole thing is hard work and pray for grace, most importantly. So in as much as that, Kogi State too should focus more on female football, because I'm sure there are raw talent there, and support can go a long way. When you get support, motivation, you can do anything.
Interesting. I mean, Kogi, we know you have Confluence Queens there playing for the NPFL Premiership. Now, for you, the tournament in Turkey, Nigeria won the last game against Equatorial Guinea 9-0. You played in that game. What was the experience like for you overall, joining new girls in camp who've been there and all that? So tell us the experience in Turkey, playing with the Super Falcons for the first time.
Well, the experience was great. The support was there. The love was there. There's unity. You can see the old players there. They were everywhere with us. They want us to understand how it's been done, and we are ready to learn, because knowing fully well that we're coming in for the first time, we're here to at least not just coming to add a number, but to make an impact there and to justify where we are invited actually. But all through, the whole old players there, men, they are everything. They are just superb. I love the communication. It was great.
Okay, interesting. So what message will you be telling Nigerian Football Federation, knowing that, yes, the Falcons will not be in action? I mean, there are no major tournaments coming up till next year. What are the Falcons going to be doing? What message will you send out so that you girls can be ready whenever you're playing your next tournament?
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to the NPFL president and his new achievement for the CAF. It's a great way forward for Nigeria and Africa in a whole. And for this last tournament we just finished, we appreciate them too, at least being out for long, not being together to play together. It to have this kind of tournament, and if we can be having friendlies at any of the summer break, it will be very, very great to keep the girls in shape and to be together, playing together again. It's a way of understanding each other. When any tournament come up, it won't be hard for us to communicate. So I think the way forward is we played on to the NFF to try and get some international friendlies for us, and that's just it.
Thank you so much, Ramat Abdulkarim, for talking to us this morning. All the best for your club.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. Thank you, viewers. I appreciate.
All right, we need to go on a short break. We'll be back after this. And of course, Principal's Cup and the Super Eagles, we get us talking. Welcome back. Okay, you guys can talk to me on our Twitter handle on channels_sports. What we're discussing, of course, we just finished talking with Ramat Abdulkarim, talking about club career and everything, how she started playing football. And of course, the Houston Rockets, their losing run finally ended. So talk to us on our handle if you can, channels_sports. And also, we'll be talking about the Principal's Cup. And most of the states have concluded theirs, from the south zone to the southwest zone, of course, to the north central zone, all of them concluding their Principal's Cup finals. And of course, we have various winners across. And to talk more about the Principal's Cup, we have Tony Payman, who happens to be the consultant of the event right here in the studio. Good morning. It's good to have you join us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
All right, let's just get into it. I mean, we've seen the Principal's Cup has been, we've been talking about it and all that and everything, the way it had to be brought back literally from the dead, to the present and all that. And most of the states are already concluding theirs and all. What's the latest development in this?
Yeah, by Sunday, we had the zonal qualifiers for the national finals. Mm-hmm. Each of the 6 political zones have been able to produce a winner from their zones. So as we speak, we have 6 winners who will be playing at the national finals in Abuja from 27th to 31st of this month. From the south to the southeast to southwest, they have all, it's been wonderful. The entire country, we've seen governors supporting their team. It's been like everybody's been waiting for something that will wake them up from the dead that the Principal's Cup had been. It's been wonderful. I've really been emotional when I see what a lot of states have been doing to ensure, activities. Not to forget that because of COVID, activities have been at a very low end. So this has become some kind of reawakening. Let's get out. Let's wake up from the trauma the COVID put us through, to get into real action, wake up these children mentally and get them fit again, especially for academics. So it's been wonderful everywhere, from the creek of the south to the desert of the north and all that. It's been beeves of activities, in football, in athletics, in table tennis. It's been wonderful. It actually surpassed what our expectations. We thought that it was going to just pick up gradually, but everywhere it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, interesting, because we send pictures, from across the state. This is from Osun State, where you have, one of the winners and all that. And, we saw a whole lot of crowd. We've seen children and everything. But how do you guys actually try? I know each state will have to be responsible for the COVID-19 protocols and all that and everything. But how do you try to oversee everything to ensure that these protocols are strictly maintained? Because some of the pictures I saw, the kids were not wearing masks and the numbers were much. Inside the stadium watching these games. We had
a program where strategies where we put in place. Every of those kids you see there were tested.
Oh, okay.
They were tested. They went through testing. They were confirmed.
Okay.
And, you know, we had to give them other talks on how to maintain this. So if they were tested and confirmed that they were fit to go, we really took our time to do all that, you know.
Okay.
We have pictures of when we got feedback on the testing and all the procedures that were followed. So we did our due diligence, and we knew that everyone who is there right now, they are safe, they are clean, they are free from COVID. So we thought that we could run with what we have right now. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I mean, we've always been seeing football. I know I saw pictures of, you know, some other sports. You know, tennis is part of it. Table tennis is part of it.
Yeah, then
track and field is also part of it.
Track and field, javelin, shot put, discus, and all that. Long jump and high jumps. They were all part of the program, and it's been something that it's been like the mini sport festival, you know, at the school level, and it has helped us to discover a whole lot. It has helped us to discover a whole lot of talent that we have at our schools.
Yeah.
You know, it's been really encouraging to see all that's been going on. I'm sure that at the end of the finals next week, we will be able to have a proper record and data of all that were discovered and what we're going to go to the next stage of planning a developmental camp and see how you can further train these ones and see how to help them build a career for those who are very interested in pursuing sports as a career.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, because, you know, I was thinking about, you just mentioned the talent and all that. You're going to have a data and a pool.
Yeah.
Is there going to be like an academy or something? How do you now monitor each of them apart from just having that data or something? How do you keep up, you know, track with these children, knowing that, of course, after primary schools, secondary schools, and then some of them might even want to continue sports at university level? And we know in Nigeria we don't have the colleges system that they have in the US, where they have the NCAA and all that.
Now, first, we have partnered with the various federations.
Okay.
NFF for football, Athletic Federation for athletics, and all that. So, with our partnership, we'll be able to put these children into camping arrangement, and we are also partnering with some foreign collegiate system where we'll be able to move them. We are going to be having a tour, a playing tour, probably by June.
Okay.
We're going to be having playing tour for some of them to go and see what they can do and pursue both education and sport together out of the shores of this country. They are part of the planning that we have put in place to ensure that we not only discover them, we also need to invest them and help them build its career path.
Interesting. Playing tour in midst of pandemic in June. How is that going to happen? Because we now have a vaccine or something?
Yes, beside the vaccine, you will also agree with me that we are already in the post-COVID era.
Okay.
That's the way you say it. Yeah, we're already in the post-COVID era. We need to get back to our normal life.
Okay.
We believe that by June, we are going to be having a sport festival.
Yes.
Yes, we reduce the crowd. Does not mean that there won't be crowd. You know, for us, especially in Nigeria, I think that we are beginning to pick our lives back, and we need to really pursue that line. We can't get locked down all through our lives and just say that a COVID came and we are not going to do anything again. We are partnering, and of course, those who are partnering with abroad also know the COVID system. So we are going to work it out and achieve it. We'll give everyone will see the update of what we are doing. They are going to be on social media and, of course, the conventional media. You'll be able to follow us in the plan. Everything I say now, you see them all play out.
Yeah, we can wait for that to really happen, because we know every time we talked about we just having tournament and all that and everything. After having that tournament, then we now focus on the elite professionals, the elite sports. I mean, those who are playing professionally. Then we leave the grassroots where you actually, you know, got these talents from. So what you're saying right now is we are not just going to have a Principal's Cup as a one-off. We're going to make sure that these talents discovered will definitely be followed all through.
Yeah, sure. First, that's the joy of having the private sector drive a process.
Okay.
You know, it's different from when it is government and you are not sure. Now we're getting funds from the private sector. We're getting organization and all the professional technical support from private sector. Where government will need to give their backing to get the political wheels and the laws necessary and facilities all put in place. That's how it works. That's how the partnership works. And And when we do that, in our relationship with sponsors, we have a long term, so it's not a one-off thing. So we can sit there and say in the next 5 years, we are looking at a projection of how many people would have been able to be discovered, and of course, shown the career path up there. We can have, you see a database, you see, it's different now because we are looking at having a line where you can really see and you can be able to
progression,
get this man from that grassroots, and in 5 years' time you are going to see where he is. We will do profiling because we are focusing on the individuals.
Okay.
So we are going to be doing proper profiling and create a story around them.
Okay.
And you see how they generated from the grassroots, how they got into, and how they finally are where they are in 5 years. Then after now, we are also going to be, as soon as we are done with this, we are going to be focusing on the National Headmasters Cup.
Okay.
So we'll take it further down to the grassroots, where we'll take it to the primary school and do same. This we have just done as a pilot to run. Then it has tested our ability to really do it, especially in this pandemic period. Then we can now roll with the Headmasters Cup. And I'm sure you are going to see in 5 years from now, you'll be proud of what we have been able to achieve with all this.
I just can't wait because I'm tired of where are the talents and all that. We have so many talent, we're not harnessing them and everything. But from these assurances, it simply means that in the next 5 years, we can't just be having a pool of players, both in football, in track and field, and of course, tennis, table tennis. We'll have some players we can say, okay, these guys were Principal's Cup 5 years ago, and right now, this is where they are. Thank you.
Don't also forget that we're going to expand it. Because it's a pilot.
Because it's supposed to be basketball, I remember.
Yes, we're going to do basketball, we're going to do badminton, we're going to do boxing, we're going to do a whole lot more. But let's take this because of the period that we are, so that we can manage these sides for now. But of course, we are going to expand it later and focus also on football. In the next 5 years, we should not be going to beg some foreign players to come play for us. We should have our boys here as it used to be. Then we can now have the Nigeria system. When you do the Nigeria system, where you know that you associate us with a particular kind and style of football and becomes a world beater.
Interesting. Well, I want to thank you so much, Attorney Pemo, for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me this morning. Thank you so much.
All right, good news coming from the grassroots level, especially with the revival of the National Principal's Cup. All right, we need to go on a short break, but after that, you'll be listening to the Edo State Deputy Governor, Philip Shaibu, talking about the National Sports Festival. There's so many things that have been put in place. The LOC have gone in action, knowing that we have a date for it, 2nd to 14th of April. That's when it started.
We are ready. We have always been ready as a state, but you know that before the postponement, we had a lot of discussion, consultation, and one of them was that when these games are postponed, there is always a cost, and federal government was ready to foot this bill And you know the economic situation in this country now. Before the tournament was postponed, we didn't get any support, financial support from federal government. Both facility and all the vendors that we paid before these games were postponed were solely funded by the state government. This time, federal government has promised, and we are hopeful. We don't have any reason to doubt Mr. President and our brother, the minister. And that is why we have agreed to host in anticipation of the resources from federal government.
Yeah, I mean, he's still talking about that money in Karen Roth and all that. We know that, of course, the federal government will definitely, bring out some cash for them to be able to, host the festival successfully, because the sports minister was in Edo State on Friday when he had to take a tour of the stadium and everything. But then they have some guidelines that have been real out. He talked about some of them, while we're listening to him. I'm talking about the deputy governor who happens to be the LOC chairperson. He talked about the different guidelines they'll have to follow, that all athletes officials are expected to take COVID-19 vaccine at least 12 days before arrival for the tournament. 12 days. Okay. All right, the MOC has also decided that all athlete officials from the 35 states and the FCT participating in the sport festival will also take COVID-19 test 72 hours before arrival at the tournament. Also, the Games Village is expected to be open on April 2nd. That's for athletes and officials. We know the games are not starting that day. Athletes and officials are to present certificates and documentation of COVID-19 test and vaccination before they can be admitted into the Games Village. That's one of the issues also. And of course, the Touch of Unity will arrive in Edo State on April 3rd and will go around the 18 local governments in the state before it will arrive at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium on April 6th, where the governor will light it up. And there's, of course, that's when the games will start. And in line with COVID-19 protocol, the number of athletes and officials, of course, we're expecting about 14,000 athletes before, but it's been reduced to just 18,000 participants only. And also officials of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and, of course, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, that's the NCDC, will arrive in Benin City 4 days to the commencement of the festival to actually monitor compliance with COVID-19 guidelines. And also they're talking about the non-pharmaceutical measures to limit the spread of COVID-19 will also be provided by the state government at various venues and, of course, camps. And attendance at the games is strictly regulated, so everyone is actually advised to follow, the activities through different medias. Of course, Channels Television will be right here to give you updates of what's going on, so they don't want too many people at games venue. That's why everything will be streamed live. The media platforms and social media platforms, they're going to use all that to ensure that they don't have a large gathering at the stadium. And of course, the government and the ministries have also agreed that the Olympic contingent for the Olympics, will be camped in Benin City. That's to ensure that they take advantage of the world-class system, world-class facilities they have in the state. So those are some of the guidelines that they will be following. The fact that most of the athletes will have to be vaccinated before coming, and COVID-19 test 72 hours before that, so which is going to be a great one for the tournament. So more like a test run. And as my previous guest mentioned earlier, that we are returning to normal. Thank God we have the vaccine already, and of course most people will be vaccinated before they can compete in the tournament. Okay, we'll leave the National Sport Festival and go straight into the Super Eagles camp. Yes, we know we have 18 players right now in camp. 18 players. You can see all the names of these players that right here in Lagos. Yes, yesterday, they had a light workout in their hotel. That's Henry Yekuru. Also, Ahmed Musa, the captain, was also part of the squad that had that light training session. Of course, all I know, he was part of them. Leon Balog, William Trust Ekong was also right there at the light training session that they had. But these are the 18 players we have in camp right now. Ahmed Musa, the captain, the vice captain, William Trust Ekong, Olaino, Shemi Ajayi, Henry Oyekuru, Ogenekare Tebo, Adekunle Adeleke, Chidozie Awanzim, and Shehu Abdullahi are the players in camp right here in Lagos. Of course, you have Anayo Iwala from Enyimba, you have John Noble, Alex Iwobi, Leon Balogun, Joseph Aribo. Ebo is also part of the squad right here. Maduka Okoye, Jamilu Collins, and Paul Onuachu is also right here in Lagos. Remember, the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be in action this Saturday against Benin Republic before they come back to Nigeria to play Lesotho at the Teslim Balogun Stadium. Their first training session is going to be later today at Teslim Balogun Stadium. We need to go on a break. When we come back, we will be listening to Gennett Raw talking about the fact that some players will not be able to make it, especially those in Spain and France.
Nigerians must know that we will do all the time the best to win the matches. But sometimes we don't have the best conditions. And now I think we will have good conditions in Lagos. And we must know also that Benin did not lose a match since 8 years at home. The last time they lost was in 2013. So you can imagine that we want to be the first one to win there since 8 years. It will not be easy. They have a very good defense. They were quarter-finalists in the last AFCON also. They eliminated Morocco. And they have a private plane to have the French players. So what we could not have, unfortunately. So they found the money to take a private plane and to bring them back by charter. These were the conditions to get the French players. So they have a lot. And you see, the state, the government is helping them to pay the plane. We know a lot because already I know the coach. This is Michel Ducillier, the French coach, former goalkeeper. He all the time is organizing his team very well. And you see they don't concede a lot of goals. We saw them also in Uyo, the first game, opening the score, and then it was difficult to beat them. But we did it. And now they are 1 point only behind us, and they have the best team. We don't have the best team because some of our players are missing. Omoruo is not here, others are not coming, Kalu is not here, Simon Moses is not here. But we will do the best. We know that already 1 point could permit us to qualify for the next AFCON. But we go there all the time to win a match. And we know that the French players, they're playing in some first divisions, but also some second divisions in very good teams. Normally, the starting 11, they are all playing in France, so we know them very well. And I think we know how to take them, but we don't know yet what can happen in a game.
All right. I mean, Benin Republic, they've not been beaten at home in the last 8 years. That's what he said. So Nigeria will have to do that because there's no excuse whether all the players are here or not. But the good news we're having this morning, Francis Uzoho has arrived camp, so we now have 18 players in Super Eagles camp, and all of them expected to train this evening at the Teslim Balogun Stadium. Okay, let's leave the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Of course, we'll also be doing the build-up from tomorrow, and of course before the game on Saturday, and of course the one on Tuesday in Lagos. Quickly go to Nigeria Professional Football League. The games, match day 7 were concluded yesterday. We still have one going on right now this morning. Jigawa Golden Stars game wasn't played yesterday, so it's ongoing right now. But let's just take a look at the results coming from yesterday. Of course, starting with Sunshine Stars and Enyimba. That ended by a lone goal. Samson Obi scored his first goal of the season in the 56th minute. And of course, Enyimba were able to beat Sunshine Stars by 1-0. And Rangers and Nasarawa United, Rangers winning by 2-0. Rangers back to second right now. Dakada beating Plateau United. Plateau United, sweet run they were having at home, but they just couldn't get that away from home. Dakada winning by a lone goal. So talking about the game of the moment, I'm talking about Sunshine Stars and Enyimba. That game was a hard one. I mean, a hard-fought game for Enyimba, simply because Enyimba needed to get a win. But then, just updates from the game between Ifa Enyimba and Jigawa Golden Stars. That game 1-1 at half-time. That's how it's going this morning. Now, the game Enyimba and, of course, Sunshine Stars. It was all about Samson Obi on the day. Samson Obi scored that goal in the 56th minute, his first goal of the season in his third start for him, but because Coach Fatai Osho needed to make some changes after what happened in Soweto when they went to Orlando Pirates and they couldn't get a win. They thought they've had a draw, but they couldn't on the continent. It ended 2-1. They lost that, and so they knew what they needed to do, and that's the strike right there from Samsi Obi. What a way to actually do that, scoring that your first goal of the season and ensuring that your team got all 3 points from that game. Let's get reactions from the coaches.
Not an easy game at all. You can't come up against Coach Ogumbote and you think the game is going to be easy. I mean, they are going through a lot. We all know that, and it's not really an easy task. They were still able to fight despite that. And for us to get this win is quite a good one for us. I mean, looking at our position on the table too, we need to push up, and that's exactly what we try to do. We have to work a lot. Off the ball to get the result, and we are quite pleased with this result. This is my turn. I was born 3 streets away from this place. I mean, I hardly lose here, but it's quite an impressive one. Lagos crowd, I mean, even with the pandemic, will have been more interesting if the crowds are here to witness this. It's a lot of hard work. I mean, it doesn't come easy. NPFL is a league that you have up to 10 teams that can win it at a time. So you have to be up and doing. I mean, we need to be getting this point on the road.
Just 45 minutes, we threw all away the chances, even in the second half. That was about the glaring chance in my heart, and it was as a result of silly error. Sometimes you lost in a game like this to inexperience. There's no two ways about it. The team needs to lift up. That's just the gospel truth.
Are you expecting transfers, or you're thinking of talking to the players?
We should not be expecting. It's mandatory. We should not be expecting. It's mandatory.
So how would you rate the quality of the players you have in the squad?
Well, they are not a bad side, but we still need a few quality players to join them. Even before conceding the goal. You see, one thing is normal. When you play 5, 6, 7 games and you do not have a win, your confidence level must drop. And you can see it's not a team, it's not a matured side that can, soak, such pressure. And but all the same, we just need. It's not all over yet. All we need to do is to salvage the team, to maintain our status in the Premiership. And if we have to do that, just in about 6 quality players, we'll be able to make a difference.
Get 6 quality players and make a difference. He wants players in the team, and hopefully he can get what he wants so that he'll bring sunshine back to where they used to be. Remember his first tenure, how he took them to the continent. Maybe that's also what he's hoping for. And for Fatai Osho, well, he's definitely a happy man this morning, getting all 3 points after losing away on the continent, especially losing to Orlando Pirates to go to on. Okay, let me just quickly take a look at some tweets. There's so many. Where do I start from? I'll start with Noble Flyerman. It says, finally, the federal government has gotten their act together to start the sport festival. Hopefully, no more postponement. Please tell Gennett Raw that anything short of 6 points and at worst a goal against us over both legs won't be accepted. Okay, all right, that's what Noble Flyerman is sending. Onishan Paul says it's poor from government and ministry that they can't charter a plane just like Benin to bring our players from France, but there's no excuse not to win. All right, and F.A. Mafidon says, good morning to all our Channel Sports staff. Well, I'm happy for our Super Eagles players who are on ground now and those who will still come in injury-free and victories for the Super Eagles both home and away. And Sean Paul also said that Raw needs to be careful with his selection as we have a star-studded team in Nigeria. What they always lack is a team play, no coordination and understanding from the players. Up Super Eagles and he's hoping we get all the maximum points. From Ogunfowora Bosun, he says the reintroduction of the Principal Cup is the absolute way of tapping into the enormous talent that is awash in all the geopolitical zones of Nigeria. And it will also have the conveyor belt of churning out talent. And Silas Sambo says, I cry and beg passionately to the organizers of the National Principals Cup to keep this momentum and do all it takes to improve on it years ahead. This is the best way to get raw talent across board in all sports. Please don't stop the good work. And I hope they're listening. You also want to continue with this. Our time for the papers, just have 1 minute to run out of the studio. Complete Sports, that's where I'm starting from this one. The Complete Sport here, Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Obaseki adopt 400 meters runner, Erayokon. I believe this boy will be so happy. Erayokon, yes, you should know him. He's one of the talkers when it comes to track and field in Nigeria. He's a quarter miler. Great news coming from Edo this morning. Inform me, Nacho, how we worked on traps for Manchester United. Work on traps. They had to train so hard for it. Osime, why I was angry with Roman Machini. Okay, Joshua warned he will suffer blackout against Fury. Okay. Man United destroying NHL hits camp today. We just can't wait for him to really hit the camp of the Super Eagles today. All right, Sporting Sun is the next one. Indeed, the NHL hits camp today. That's still the headlines from Sporting Sun on Super Eagles update. And of course, the final one is Sporting Life. Onuachu swears list camp to 18. Now we have 19 with the arrival of Francis Uzoho. Ekong happy to be back and hits James with teammate. That took place just yesterday morning. All right, thank you so much for staying with me this morning. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Do have a great day.